All right, let's talk about COVID-19 here in Kansas City, Missouri. Let me get my glasses situated there. Maybe I don't even need them today. I'm going to do this off the cuff, so let's go. Kansas City, Missouri is an interesting place, and I've been here for the last couple of weeks, and right now we're 3 weeks into protesting. We're, I guess since March 20th was about the first time that there was any cases here in the Kansas City of COVID. And so I've got a couple of situations that made me want to get tested. So let's talk about that. Well, first of all, when I came here, I'm staying with a couple who are in their 80s. And since they're in a vulnerable class of people for the COVID outbreak, it was very important to me to be able to make sure to ensure their safety. While I don't believe that the outbreak is being touted as honestly as I think it should be, I believe that it's still important to make sure that you don't cause any problems for people regardless. So wearing masks, I understand, but let's get into some of the numbers because I did want to research it, what's going on here in particular. So we have we just had an extension of the state of emergency for Kansas City, Missouri. The mayor here is Quentin Lucas, a Democrat who is well-liked, well-spoken, someone who seems to have his thumb on the pulse of everything, if you will. And I got the information from the website of the Kansas City, Missouri website, which is the kcmo.gov, and I'll put the link in the description below. I read his executive order issuing the statement of the state of emergency. Also, the order that issued an extension of the mask-wearing mandate. I've been to places where I forgot to wear my mask and that people wouldn't let me in to get a pack of cigarettes or any number of things. So people are taking it pretty seriously here, for the most part, as far as being in stores. But out on the streets, I haven't seen many people wearing masks or anything like that. The thing I want to point out, though, is their website is interesting because it shows the actual statistics, not just the recommendations and that sort of thing. So since March 20th, since their first case in Kansas City, this is a population of 500,000 people, there have been 38 deaths. The Kansas City Star keeps reporting record number of deaths as everything spikes. Well, they do some disingenuous things with that, but I want you to know that we're not being told everything that we should be. And even if the stuff is being posted publicly, which they are in this case, and that's a great thing for transparency. Mayor Lucas talks about transparency quite a bit. So even though that's the case, we still are having problems with being able to find information easily enough that it can make sense. And I'll show you what I mean. If you go to the website, there's a description of the data and the data set, who owns the data set, and then you get into it and you can look up the numbers. Well, the total number of deaths since March 20th are 38 as of July 13th. And it's supposed to have another batch of stuff come out today, so that might be something else. But the records they're showing have nothing to do with deaths. They have something to do with cases and testing, but the government is limiting testing to certain times, and then they're cutting it off. So you're going to have spikes and you're going to have lulls. You're going to have the ability to say most impressive spike since the beginning of the outbreak. If they test a bunch of people on one go, that goes for a week and then they stop. But I've gone to the hospitals. I've gone to a clinic to try to get tested myself. I signed up for an appointment for 33 different clinics in the area. I told them that I was taking care of 80 people or 80-year-old people in my household so that I would be able to be tested. but I couldn't get tested no matter what. Now, there's two different sides of that coin. One would say, well, Trump's not providing enough testing. And then other people would say, well, Trump said he's providing the testing, but the governors and mayors aren't taking it seriously, and they're not providing the testing to their actual constituents. Well, the governors or the mayor is also pushing back on opening schools. Opening schools here they're saying they want to take place after Labor Day at least, which that coincides with when I went to school. But apparently people go to school earlier now into August, from what I hear. To me, there's no evidence whatsoever from their own reporting that this is something that should be concerned about for opening schools. It does seem it's something that it should play into the ideas of putting people into panic and scared modes. Just a constant state of stress or fear, uncertainty, and doubt that seems to be a common theme with some of the areas of policy making that have been interesting to me as of late. Well, let me just say this. If you look on their website and you do go through the description of the data, which is on a different page, and you have to kind of scroll down to see where it says where the description is, and it's kind of hard to find the data within the kcmo.gov website. But it says that the current deaths and the cumulative deaths that are there are all deaths of people who are with COVID. So there's people who have died with COVID. It doesn't even say that they died from COVID, which is a distinct difference from some of the other reporting that I've seen. Well, I'll show you the website, I'll show you the data. You may think I'm being picky about this, but people aren't scared on the streets. When I'm talking to people, just like the black people I'm seeing on the streets aren't scared of white people. I have to say that just there's a lot of us's and they's being made out of this. Old versus young. White versus black. Women versus men. Us versus they. Government versus civilians. Police against the populace. Well, if they keep us separated, then we're going to have a problem coming together when it's time to really get stuff done. So I think it's important to call them on their bullshit, even if I'm not an epidemiologist, and which is a study of epidemics. I'm not someone who knows the answers to all these things. But at the same time, when I look up something on the website that is run from the mayor's office, I have to run into issues with the data that's being posted versus the statements that are being made and the executive orders that are being published. They're not saving kids from openings by not opening schools. At the same time, I mean, I think there's a debate to be had that they're not harming kids either by not opening schools, but they are definitely harming the economy, because our economy is set up to be such that people can send their kids to school and then they can go to jobs. I have issues with federally funding education. I have issues with institutionalizing our children through education and propaganda and teaching them, brainwashing kinds of things. But at the same time, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about protecting them from a virus that is frankly not very deadly, at least here in the Kansas City area, according to the reporting of the Kansas City Department of Public Health. So why is the mayor not taking that seriously? Why are they not taking their own Department of Public Health's information and parsing it to make good policy? I just think that there's another agenda there. And I can't be so bold as to say I know what the agenda is, but I've got some suspicions. I think it's related to Black Lives Matter. I think it's related to pushes for more power by these organizations like public health organizations as the CDC and the Department of Public Health and various people like that. I think we're getting convoluted information. Wear masks, don't wear masks. And it's putting us into a place where we're having to make decisions that I don't think are very informed. Well, I guess that's kind of common in this world today. You're not getting much good in the way of news. The Kansas City Star is all alarmist all the time. Chicken Little, the sky is falling. It makes fun of people who speak out against masks as conspiracy theorists. And at the same time, the Department of Public Health science, quote unquote science, which is really statistics in this case, is there's not one person dying a day of this. There's not one person dying every 3 days of this. In fact, they're not even claiming that anybody is dying of this if you parse the words precisely. So, anyway, there's your story. I hope it entertains you at least. Debate me. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm an idiot, why I'm a racist, or whatever. Just tell me that you've listened. Subscribe to the channel if you like it. I'm trying to be as open and honest and upfront with this stuff as I can. And I want people to know that there are people out there that think differently than they do. And maybe the people who think the same that I do might think that there's someone out there who thinks like them. Anyway, thank you very much. Smash the subscribe button. Click the bell. Put some comments in there. Let's get a discussion started. Thank you.